accused the Ministry of Finance of perpetuating an illegality in the implementation of the current charges of the VAT Act. We're told that 32 financial services will attract 17.5% VAT, and at the news conference they also accuse government of financial indiscipline and reckless. Okay, that one we've always heard it. But on the subject, what I thought the bill was in Parliament earlier on. It will pass into law.
To 17.5%, yeah.
Yes.
It was.
And then,
but
you mean the various line item as to the services that will be attracting 17.5%? Duly should have been brought before Parliament.
I think this me Amasan Amole is my senior in Parliament. I think you are in your third term, isn't it?
What does that got to do with that discussion?
That means that he is far more
experienced to know
that in this country, when the Parliament, the system of government we are running now, when you make a law and you want to implement it, you come out with an ally. You don't just go and sit somewhere and just pick anything and decide to implement the law anyhow. I think in our press conference we stated that in the act there's even a barrier, but all these things are being ignored. No ally has come to Parliament. The Minister of Finance, out of desperation, has just picked the act, gone to connive with GRA. Oh, let's come out with all this. But there are so many questions to ask. You know, until this time, banks were not registered for VAT. Now we are going to ask them to register for full VAT. Are we allowing them to claim all their input VAT against the VAT they are going to charge? Don't forget that these 32 items constitute, even though
and for you as parliamentarians, is ambiguous or what?
No, it's not ambiguous.
So,
what I'm trying to see is that
are you aware that the Finance Ministry, the Ghana Revenue Authority, as well as the banks, they've been having some level of consultations of conferments on this very subject?
Yeah, but the Parliament of the land should approve it before it can be implemented. That is why we are threatening that if nothing is done, if they don't bring it, we are going to go to court.
How does that amount to abuse?
Well, to me, he just says something. Well, that every law that you make, you should have an ally supporting it. I don't think it is right. Unless the parent law tells you that there should be an ally to do certain things. So I haven't seen your press conference statement yet, but if an entity is going to be charged VAT, I don't think you have to bring it to Parliament. Unless maybe in the Parent Act, it was said that these people, the government should, government should bring an ally to do certain things. So if, in fact, I haven't seen the press conference. So if there's in the parent law that says that government should do certain, bring LI for 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is what they are complaining about. Well, I'm here to see the parent law. I will be able to comment appropriately on it. But I don't think every law, every parent act says that you should have an LI. Not every parent act, unless the act tells you that there should be an LI to implement certain things.
Look, we've quoted a part of the VAT Act.
You can read it. Read it for
870. I'm reading it. It says subject to paragraph B of Financial Services Act, excluding financial services rendered for a fee, commission, or a similar change. So it means that the VAT Act is subjecting it to another act. And in that Financial Services Act, what you are going to do is not legal.
Then I'm going
to tell you that permissible under the Financial Services Act.
I thought you were going to quote the parent law that is saying that we should bring an ally. If you are quoting another law, then I'm telling you that the government is right in collecting the VAT from the banks. Because if I form a company that is going to manufacture ozone layer, or let's say ozone for the ozone layer, and I'm to pay VAT, you don't need to bring an ally to Parliament.
He simply is oversimplifying it.
No, you don't need to bring an ally to Parliament.
The law itself is subjecting it to another
I was expecting you to quote.
And whenever that suggestion is made, it means that if the parent law, the original law, that is the new law is being subjected to, prohibit something, you cannot do it.
What I'm saying,
and that is what we are saying.
What I'm saying is that
so now,
if you have quoted the new VAT law, the new VAT, we took away the old. The new VAT. If you are quoting, they didn't even amend it. They
introduced a new one just because of the 70.5%.
They introduced a whole VAT. This thing. What I'm saying is that if that Parent Act had quoted that there should be an LI for certain companies, that is where I say I would have. But if you are quoting another law for this thing, my friend, I don't think you are right.
Okay, hold your fire. I have Mr. Dansue Champon. He's a labor expert on the line. And Mr. Champon, good morning. Okay, we have to call him back. I hear the line stripped on the subject. So we're just calling him on short notice, so that's why. So now the minority in your press conference, you also raised a subject about how government needs to go and renegotiate the CBD loan or stop it altogether.
Yes. Look, the CBD loan.
The China Development Bank loan.
The China Development Bank loan. You see, this government will never listen.
They don't listen to what?
They don't listen to advice. And you see, nobody in this world is perfect. Not much less a political party. When they were negotiating this, the minority side advised them that, look, you cannot have, does it make sense? Is it reasonable that you go and negotiate a loan and there's a clause that tells you that, look, the undrawn balance, you have to pay 1% commission on the undrawn balance, and you agree to this. It means that the disbursing bank will have the option, and he has all the incentive not to disburse the amount. So far, we have paid about $54 million on the undisbursed balance of the loan. By the end of the year, and so far we can reasonably expect that nothing will change for the next 6 months. By the end of this year, we would have paid $100 million.
You said nothing will change. How do you know nothing?
Oh, we did the loan. When did we approve it? How much of it have we got? So within the next 6 months, if we don't get, what I mean is that no significant part of it so far, we have just gotten about 20% or so. If we are not able to get all the loan disbursed within the end of by the end of this year, we would have spent $100 million on undisbursed balance.
Okay.
This is a total waste. I think the president has had the occasion to comment on it. They should act. The Chinese are always finding a reason not to disburse. Then the last time we had, I think, a high-ranking official was telling the whole world, telling Ghanaians that the Chinese are demanding. I think the deputy minister who had just been reshuffled told Ghanaians that the Chinese are demanding more. What does that mean? We hear that they are demanding more oil, which we cannot have.
You see, these are some of the things that I always say. I don't like we doing politics with this thing.
This is not politics. Oh, I'm quoting facts and figures.
I was a deputy minister.
We are not farmers here. We are politicians.
In charge of fisheries. And I'm telling you that this clause that you say it is bogus, it is something that you haven't heard before. I inherited Indian Exim Bank loan that was given, that was negotiated by President Kufuor's government, Gladys Asma. And the same clause was there on the Indian Exim Bank. And anytime that we were trying to assess the money, it took us hell to assess that money. So those clauses are always there in loans and credit that you go for. So it is not something that is new.
Okay.
It is a standard thing.
Hold your fire. So where you are, please remember your last phrase so that when we continue, you can. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Dansue Champon. You're a labor expert, and we're sorry we're calling you at a very late hour. How are you, sir?
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Yes.
Okay, let me just run this by you. The Finance Minister, Setekpe, has indicated that government will no longer increase salaries of public sector workers automatically across board, as currently is being done. And this has been attributed to the huge expenditure of government on the wage bill and also to the implementation of the single spine pay policy. Following that, he said that as part of measures to curtail the rising wage bill, government was putting in steps to ensure that salaries are increased based on performance. As a result of it, he says the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, in collaboration with the central management agencies, is working out a national forum to provide a roadmap for an eventual rollout of what they call, the new system, the Public Service-Wide Performance Management Monitoring and Evaluation System. And this will link public service pay to work and productivity. And he was addressing Parliament on Thursday. The question I want to ask you is, which one is ideal? Do you come and make a policy statement announcement, or you consult with the stakeholders concerned before you come and make the announcement, particularly when it is on a sensitive subject as somebody's wage or pay increment or not of public sector workers?
No, I think I attribute this into failure of our industrial relation practice in Ghana. And you see, it's a failure in the sense that Section 97 of the Labour Act talks of good faith negotiation, where the employer, employees, and the unions concerned will meet at the standing negotiation table level, and then discuss common issues that they have interest in. And therefore, for one party to go to Parliament with virtually a drawn policy to inform Parliament means that it's not negotiable, and therefore from the word go, whatever he's saying is inconsistent with the practice of which the Labour Act is envisioning. And therefore, for government to be able to sell this properly, they need to repackage, go back to the joint standing negotiations that put all government employees and their unions together as one negotiation team against the fair wage, where they can go and place a document there for them to discuss and come out with what we call a collective agreement package. And therefore, whatever he said in Parliament, to me, is a non-starter.
Oh,
now, Mr. the part of government to understand what industrial relation practice is all about.
Well, Mr. Champon, how does it come that I am the employer? We know that we're in a crisis situation that everybody in Ghana knows. And, well, this very announcement is expected to make sure that whoever is going to get something is based on whatever output the worker puts in as far as the input is. And we all know the issues of performance management and how, well, they have to undertake the right appraisals and analysis, etc., before they come out to say, based on pay levels, these are what the ranges are and what you should be expecting. Shouldn't the workers rather be empathizing with government?
I mean, we're talking of empathy. Yes, the question is, where do you discuss to get the empathy you are talking about? See, the trade union leaders are also under pressure from their members. More so when the economy is continually sinking and, living conditions becoming very difficult for employees and the unionized staff. And therefore, that's not the way to go about, because they also have a constituency to report to. And pressure is mounted on the leadership not to, give in to some of these things. So the best thing is you package it. You send it to the appropriate forum that the law has set up. There, whatever you come out with becomes a binding document on all, even if the rank and file are against it. When the leadership, pen their signature on that, it becomes a working document backed by law. But the point is that if you begin to poison the atmosphere by going to the wrong forum to discuss some of these things, then you put everybody on alert for them also to begin to develop positions against what may be, if you have put it at the right place, by being a very good policy. So all what I'm saying is that industrial relations practice, talks of negotiation. And the negotiations are done by the parties involved. And therefore, if you roll out a package, that is complete, then you want to bring it to the forum. Then it's becoming like take it or leave it. In that situation, the union leaders will not agree.
So the government is wrong.
I'm only pleading that they go back to Section 97 that talks of good faith negotiations, where you make available all relevant information that will make the meeting to come out with a solution or an agreement that is workable. That is what I'm talking about.
With all the experiences that you have and having worked in consultancy and unionism for a very long time, do you think that there's a likelihood that the unionized groups that we have in this country could rebel against this very policy announcements, even before they start perhaps some level of stakeholder consultation?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that because the start of the whole initiative has been wrongly made. You know, you prejudice the whole situation, and now the union leaders are now going to be under pressure. But now the constituents have heard that this is what the government intends to do. And these are our own positions. If the package had gone to a negotiation level, they would have taken it. Because at the standing negotiation for the public service employees, it's a bigger forum. The doctors are there, the nurses are there, those who are with the TUC will be there, the teachers, now, all those people. It's a bigger forum. And therefore, if the package goes there, most of them will do consultation. But because the nation is in some crisis, the cost was sacrificed by everybody. So when we go to that table, government will now, the workers want to find what sacrifices is government going to make in order for all, so that whatever we agree on, we can also start to remember that, yes, we need to sacrifice to save the economy. At the end of the day, if it collapses, everybody, employees may lose their jobs. So there are consequences. The approach to do it is what I have always complained about, is that international relation practice in Ghana is not properly being conducted. The labor law has come out with some guidelines.
Okay, so you're saying that even government as the biggest employer is flouting some of those regulations, or
that the government is doing what?
Is flouting the labor regulation in itself?
No, I mean the package what the minister had gone to Parliament to talk about. You know.
Okay.
It's not the way to.
You use a phrase. Union. You use a phrase. The economy is sinking. What do you mean by it's sinking?
No, what I'm saying is that the economy, all of us, we can call it a sinking. It's in dire state.
Okay.
I mean, people are using all sorts of phrases.
So that's
but
the phrase as well.
question is that the economy is in some difficulty, and therefore all of us, as a nation, need to find a way to assist the managers of the economy to put it back. Okay.
That's a very controversial statement you made at the last end. But thank you very much, Mr. Dansui Champong. You're a labor expert, and we thank you very much for speaking to us just at the last hour. We know that we didn't give you enough time for you to talk about the subject, but we'll have to bring you into the studio for us to look at this tentatively, more extensively, don't you think? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Champong. So you've heard him.
Well, I think
your last words, because we have to wrap up.
Yeah, I think Mr. Champong has a certain note that he's adhering to. Yes, he has a way of he believes in the way you have to negotiate in the dark and then come out to say that, okay, this is what we have reached, and then the workers will not have a say in it. I also believe that let the workers know what our leaders are going to discuss, because in the long run, it is the workers that have to be affected, because there may be something in the package that some workers somewhere who are not part of leadership will not be able to say anything. But now that they have seen it, they can advise their leadership, oh, this is the way I think it must go. He is right by the old convention, but I believe let the workers know, you see, the old days of mafia, I'm not using the word mafia.
Did he give you the indication that it was talking about mafia?
No. All what he said, that the old system of, oh, let's consult labor in the dark and everything, then come out and tell them, oh, labor has consulted.
Is that what he meant?
That's exactly what
you've been doing. Your last point, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I think what Ghanaians should understand is that, I mean, when I was saying he couldn't believe it, Mr. Dansui Champong, I've known him. Actually, a very good morning to him. We were all going to the same church when we were in Legon. He was my senior anyway. But I've known him. He's a very objective person.
I'm not saying he's not objective.
He's come out to tell you what is.
I'm not saying he's not objective.
You cannot just make a policy without consulting the people.
So you agree with him?
I do agree with him, and I think I shared that opinion even before he came on board. But this thing is that what has brought us to where we are, like we said yesterday, and I repeat here, is the indiscipline, the recklessness, the impunity,
stop the politics.
and the man.
So that's what we end.
The politics.
The gentleman talking. The gentleman in the jacket is Ni Amasana Mwale. He's a member of parliament for Dade Kotopon constituency here in Accra. He's also a member of the NDC. And Kingsley Abwaji Jedu is a member of parliament for Bibieni Arianso Bekwai constituency in the Western region. A member of the MPP as well. Thanks, gentlemen, for joining me this morning. We hope to have you again sometime.
Thank you.
And we're taking a break.